How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you, Coach?
Good. Good on this 47th day of camp. Feel like Groundhog Day. I had to explain to a couple of my old linemen, I realized how old I am, what Groundhog Day, the movie was. They were like, what are you talking about Groundhog Day? So I had to teach Mike Brown a little about Groundhog Day. But it's been, camp has been, it's been a lot of ups and downs for us up front. And offensively, it's the past couple of practices have been really good, I think. And Coach Brown may have alluded to it that, we've been back and forth a good bit with the defense. We've hit some big balls. Hadn't ran the ball very well. They've been doing a good job up front. But I see us getting better at times and then making mistakes at times and correcting them. And, I see improvement. Not as fast as I want it to be, but I see improvement.
Coach Brown talked about shuffling up front, still looking for basically a fifth guy.
Yeah. Barron, I had Chase at center at the beginning of camp. Kind of went into a slump there at the scrimmage. We had too many high snaps, and you went in a slump. So I pulled him out and moved Sills over. And, Sills played center in high school, so he's a really athletic kid, can play baseball. I mean, he can actually kick field goals. He can do a little bit of everything. So, the more athletic guy you got up there, the easier it is to snap. And he's done a really good job. He's been there the past 3 practices, I believe, at center, making all the calls. Kind of been rotating just trying to figure out who that played. John Hughes at some right guard. He was working at the backup tackle spot. He's really come on. He's done a really good job the past several days at the working with the ones. He was just one of those guys. I saw it from the time we signed him in January that I thought he had a chance to be a good player on this level, and he's stepping up. Probably not naturally a guard, but he does have good bend. Not quite as strong as we want him to be next. Probably the 2 guys that I would say have been the most consistent is Colton and Mike Brown. Both those 2 guys right there on the left side. Mike has really come a long way. He's really doing a really good job and playing with good pad level, and he plays the game really hard. And Colton, is doing what I expect him to do. He's an intelligent player, studies hard, and he's going to be a really good left tackle in this league. But we just, we're still trying to find that, 5 guys that we feel really good about. So we're continuing to shuffle a little bit, and we're developing a little bit of depth at some spots. Not the kind of solid depth that you want, but at least guys that you trust that are going to do what you coach them to do.
What's your number, Coach, for how many linemen you need ready to go with?
I'd like to have 8. I try to have 3 right side players, 3 left side players, and 2 centers. I'm always going to travel 3 centers just in case if you don't want to run out of somebody can snap, you know what I mean? But I like to have the number of 8, so I'm working on 3 guys, a guard, a tackle, then a guy that can play both on both sides. Is what I'm shooting for. Sometimes you don't always get that from a body type, and you have to travel 9 just because you may have a guard that can play guard but just isn't long enough to play tackle. But that's what I'm looking for. I'd like to find 8 dudes that I know that I can work with all fall. I mean, I obviously like to have 10, but I don't think I've got that right now.
Is Stilly in that mix to start at center? Is he?
Yeah, Stilly's done a really good job. He's been solid. It's really been. I don't know if I'd say he's in the mix to start, but he's become a solid backup. Smart player, does a good job, but he's been consistent more than anything. So he's been doing a really good job of keeping himself right there in the hunt. He actually went out there as a starting center, a couple times in practice and got him some reps at it. So I would definitely say I would trust him to go in a game.
Coach Brown mentioned that getting the running game going was something that's really been a priority. Is that more on getting the running backs up to speed right now, or maybe getting a better consistent play from the offense?
It's both. It's both. It's one of those things where, it's like the scrimmage. Well, I sit there and I pause the film and, we run a counter, we're running power, running inside zone, and 4 guys are doing exactly what they're supposed to. And you got that one guy. It could be the fullback. It could be the right guard, not doing what they're supposed to. And that makes you look like a bad offensive line or a bad offense. And we got to continue to work of offense is about everybody doing what they're supposed to do and doing their job. And that's the biggest thing we're running into right now is just there's one guy, whether it's the back missing the read or the right guard missing his block or the fullback missing his block. And, that's just unacceptable. You can't do that in this league, in this level of play. Everybody's got to be on the same page and everybody's got to do their job.
You've got 2 tight ends in green, 1 coming off knee surgery.
Yeah.
So how much are you doing 4 wideouts and how much are you working the S-back?
We're working the S-back a lot. From a tight end standpoint, we feel good about Haskins. He's getting a lot of reps in the walkthroughs and stuff just because he can't physically bang anybody yet with that shoulder, but he's getting a lot of mental reps. O'Laughlin is coming along, continuing to improve every week. He's more of a physical guy, but he actually does have good hands. And at the fullback spot, Knipper and Timmons have both done well. Timmons has gotten a lot better since the spring, fitting on people, and Knipper has really surprised us with. He really brings it he's a very physical player. He's noticeably physical. If you ask the linebackers on defense, hey, who will hit you? They're definitely going to say, hey, 43 will put it on you. And so it's been nice seeing those guys come along, and we just got to do a good job game planning of being able to use both those guys. I don't think we got really a dude at tight end or fullback that we're just going to go in there and play every snap, but we got to do a really good job game planning and using both those guys in our 20 big sets and our 11 and 21 personnel.
I guess what brought Knipper here from Western Michigan?
He was a walk on there, and he wasn't happy, and he's an Ohio kid, and his family. I coached with his uncle when I was a high school coach in Alabama, and his uncle gave me a call and said, hey, and I said, come be a student if you want to walk on. If this is where you want to go to school, come walk on. So he walked on, and it's been a very, very pleasant addition to our fullbacking crew.
Hey Matt, if you do stick with Josh at center, and you said 3 on each side and 2 centers, do you lose a right guard or a right side player there?
Well, I do, but I've got to get Barrett's got to be one of those guys. He's been working. Last year he was kind of the reserve guy at both guards, so he's comfortable with the guard spot. And he actually had his best practice today that he's had all fall working left guard. Mike Brown got banged up and he was out, so it was he and Committer running with the ones at the left guard spot, and he actually had probably one of his better practices at the left guard spot. So maybe one of those things where he may be a better guard than he is a center. It's just sometimes with the O-line, and you try to teach all those positions where the fundamentals are the same. Whether it doesn't matter where you are, if you're covered, if you're uncovered, if you're back, whatever, it's the same technique, so you can shuffle them around a little bit.
Matt, you get a little while for you at the game plan, but when you do you think about getting each of those fullbacks significant touches? I mean, a specific number or hot hand or
the running backs?
Yeah, we got to get this guy 8.
Yeah, we've been working a lot at getting those guys in different places and who's good at out of the backfield, who's good at the wildcat, who's good at so we're as we go we're game planning. We basically Coach Brown's big on day one. We were game planning. Day one we went against the defense that James Madison plays. Day 2 we went against so the whole camp. We've seen the defenses of the teams that we're going to play. We fit that into our schedule just so it's not a complete surprise when you go play somebody like that. From our aspect and our players' aspect, they got an idea of like, hey, they remember this is an odd front team, this is an even front team, that kind of stuff.
Have you figured out who's good in the wildcat?
No, we've worked a couple guys back there, but I mean one of those guys they're going to do a good job. It's really more about getting reps and being able to control the cadence, because you got the speed motion. They got to understand when to snap it when the speed motion comes. So it's just really just getting reps with those guys to understand. I mean, Pettaway's done a really good job. His cadence is good, and he's starting to understand it.
It's when you're figuring out who your line is, or when you all go into the meetings to say, okay, these are the guys that are going to play. Are you weighted more in your evaluation toward what you see in scrimmages, the charting of the things they do, everything, how much your personal feel, goes into it?
It's what I tell my guys from the day one first meeting. The first thing I told them is, this job's about production. Can you do your job? Now, you may cross your feet over, you may be high, but if you get your job done and you produce, then that's what it's about. So it's more about, hey, how do you do in the scrimmages? Are you producing? Are you making your blocks? Are you doing what you're supposed to do? If you go out there and you do great technique, but you let the guy cross your face every time you make the tackle, that doesn't matter. So it's more about a guy producing when it's game time, when the lights are on and there are people in the stands. So that's what I put a lot of weight on is guys like that, being able to produce when it comes time to, get the first down or whatever needs to be done.
Hey, Matt,
Thanks, Coach.
Matt, Sean had said in the spring that there have been times at Troy where you got your second quarterback on the field just for different situations to have him ready, or there was a spot for him. Does that become part of the preamble now, or is that just a thing that you do no matter what?
No, that's more of like seeing if those guys are ready, if they're ready with their packages. you know, whatever one of them may be really good at. We had some guys down there that were, one of them was a little bit more of a runner than the other. So, you know, we worked in some package where we could get them both out there. So that's going to be, you know, further down the road when we start feeling comfortable with them, understanding the schemes and what we're trying to do, more so than just, we don't just have a package where we automatically put that in.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks, guys.